Hello everyone, and welcome to this multi-part series about basics of how to play your handpan. Now, because you're watching this, chances are you've already purchased a handpan or are about to receive your handpan. And I want to get a little bit of kind of the how-to isn't really set in stone. It's really however you want to play it, whatever sounds good to you. Well, chances are it's going to sound good to your audience, because if you have one of these beautiful instruments, anything you do on it is going to be amazing. Um, but I've taught a lot of my friends how to play over some recent times, so I think there's a couple of things I've noticed that helps people get started. And the first thing I want to get into, and it's about this video, is your striking technique. So there's a couple of different ways to do this. A couple of different techniques work for people. Eventually you will be able to use all 10 of your fingers, but I think for the first time, when you're getting started, you have to identify what's the best technique for you, what you feel most comfortable with. The idea is you have to strike the tone fields in a way that you don't mute the sound, but you let it ring out. So you kind of have to take your finger away from it at the same time. When I got started, there were two basic techniques, and primarily I used the side of the thumb technique, kind of letting it kind of jump off. That's one way to do it, and you can see if that works for you. If your thumb's not that agile and you will be kind of doing these, it's important not to just kind of give it so much thrust this way, but really kind of like you're flicking your wrist. Kind of like that. Make sure you let that ring out nicely. So that's one technique, and you have to try this and see which of these works. Second technique that I've seen most people using is either the index finger or your middle finger. And then the middle finger, same way. It's same idea. You have to make sure you can pull it off, make sure you're not muting the sound. And these would be, I think, the most common ones. Some people find actually kind of this dabbing motion, and they kind of tend to use 2 or 3 fingers just when they're starting out, because they don't feel comfortable with one finger at a time. So it's like you can kind of make the same sound pretty much. If this is what works for you, you can start with this. And also, it'll vary which tone fields you're hitting, because when you're back here, sometimes this kind of dabbing motion will not work so easily. You have to really, break your wrists in an unnatural way. So sometimes this will be more comfortable with your thumb. And then up here, a lot of people find the first and second finger technique to be a little better. For me, it doesn't really matter. So I think the first thing you want to do is really experiment with these 3 or 4 techniques, see where you feel most comfortable, and also around the handpan. If it works for you everywhere, then that'll be your technique. I'll be releasing a new video every weekend, hopefully, and then that gives you plenty of time to practice and see what works for you. So